This is To the Front. Tools for today's top agents.
All right, coming back, episode number 18 of To the Front. Now, this episode is one I don't think I've been as excited for an episode as I have about this one. Why? Because I've got the most special guest I've ever brought on. A good-looking cat. In fact, I'm going to bring him on right now. And no, you're not looking at a copy paste. That is my twin brother, Kyle Norsworthy, on the podcast. Kyle, what's up, dude? Welcome.
What's happening?
We even sound alike, don't we?
Yeah. So Adam's the thinner version of me. I've got a few extra pounds on him. So
Kyle's the one that makes money. So, yes, if you're wondering, we are twins. I don't know if we're fraternal or identical. I don't think Dad ever had the test. I think we're identical.
We're identical for sure.
For sure. I mean, it even sounds the same. It's wild. Totally wild. Well, hey, on today's episode, I'm going to tell you this is going to be a great one, right? Because the title of the episode is the Referral Goldmine. Referral Goldmine. I bet you that sounds intriguing, especially if you're an insurance agent. I want to tell you right off the bat, there's a lot of people that listen to the podcast that are just general business owners. If you want to stay around for the fun conversation, stay around. But this episode is really aimed at the insurance agents and how the relationship of an insurance agent to a mortgage broker is going to be a referral gold mine for you. And so why did I bring my brother on to talk about this? Well, let me tell you about him. Kyle Norsworthy. It's weird to say my last name, but Kyle Norsworthy is the sales VP of Guardian Savings. Guardian Savings is an incredibly popular lender in Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio. They've got branches in Kentucky and Ohio. So Kyle is the VP there. He's got a lot of brokers that work under him, but he also sells as well. So he's not a desk jockey. He actually goes out and does it, goes out and crushes it. And one thing I love about my brother is he's not only just into that, he loves the community. He is the president of a large basketball association, deeply involved with his family. And I'm going to tell you something. He's Norsworthy. What do Norsworthys do? Man, Norsworthys can sell. Why? Because we don't have much else going for us, but we can sell, right? I mean, we can talk it out because that's pretty much what we've got. So, Kyle, how'd I do there? I introduced you okay?
I mean, you did. I give you an 85%. I think
85.
You're close. Yeah.
From my twin brother, I'll take that. I'll take that. Hey, before we jump into the conversation, though, Kyle, listen, I know all about you, right? You're not only my brother, you're my best friend. Probably couldn't have said that all of our life, but definitely since college.
Absolutely.
We've been that. Kyle was the one who did great in college, and I'm the one that almost failed. He was calling me every day in college, like, dude, are you going to pass? Are you going to graduate? And barely, I guess. Barely. Kyle, tell us about you. Tell us about your family, your background, how you got into the mortgage business, and then we're going to jump in to this conversation that every agent needs to hear, the referral gold mine. So talk about that.
I appreciate you having me on. It's I've actually watched your podcast since it started, and actually a lot of the stuff that you talk about can relate to my business as well and my teams. Like I said, I'm with Guardian Savings. I'm not big on titles. For me, it's more of I build relationships and I drive relationships. All right, those are two very, very different things in my business. But this is I think it's year 23 in lending and actually real estate lending. Had a few different roles. I've always been with banks in various roles, but it's always been something to do with real estate lending. Back in 2017, I was with Fifth Third Bank, and I transitioned to just mortgage alone. So I dropped off the auto lending and personal loans and just focused 100% on real estate. So that's what I do. Then back in 2021, the gentleman I worked under at Fifth Third came to Guardian and Union. So Union Savings is our sister bank. We're one and the same, but he came to and he's kind of over both banks in terms of sales, and he approached me and said, "Hey, you've done so well in your own business. I want you to share it with the team." And back in the day, I was a branch manager at certain banks, and I just said, hey, I'd love to get back into the management sector. However, the big caveat is I still want to sell. So at many lenders, there's most of your sales managers don't sell. They just manage people. But, and I'll get into later why I feel that way, but I would never take a job where I couldn't still sell the product. So that's where I am today. And I'm excited to share sort of what drives me and to sort of highlight one of my most valuable partnerships, which is my insurance agent.
An insurance agent. Boy, I love what you said. I'm going to still not give you credit. You said I build and I drive relationships. I'm going to tell you something. If you don't get anything from this podcast, you need to write that phrase down. You want a growing business? You want to crush it? Just build and drive relationships. In other words, build them. Intentionally is probably the word. Intentionally. Don't just sort of accidentally fall in relationships. You're intentionally building relationships, and then you drive them. You use them as a tool to grow your business. And one thing that I've loved about Kyle is that it don't matter what season it is in terms of, are the mortgage rates good? Are they bad? Up, down? Is the inventory low or high? This dude always crushes it. And the story is that you can be a winner in any economy. Doesn't matter. Right. And you and I actually talked about this a lot. It was pretty easy to sell home loans during COVID. Anybody was doing, or refinances. What the rates were like, hey, give me a bag of blueberries and I'll refinance.
You could be the most low energy person in the world and sell mortgage during that time. And, the influx of new officers during that was astronomical. And I wish I had the data. In a team meeting the other day, we're talking about the data about how many officers have left the business. And it's absolutely crazy. It's something to the number of like 65 or 70% of officers have left.
Wow.
But again, it's just going back down to pre-COVID numbers is all it is.
That's right.
Because people got into it. They saw, hey, the rates are low. Everyone's biting. I'm going to get into it. And they absolutely did not build their business the right way. So it was not sustainable.
Couldn't cut it. But you do it. It don't matter what it is.
I like to think I do. I try not to hype myself up, but I'm still here. So that's, I'm still standing. That's a phrase we use in our business right now. If you're still standing and you've been here for 5 years or more, then you're doing something at least okay.
There's an 80s song. What's it called? I'm still standing. Do you know that 80s song? I didn't make that up.
I don't know. All I remember is the 80s song. When the one I remember is what was it? I didn't start the fire, and then you had a car crash during the song.
Bring that up. Dude, it was right in that big line. Joe DiMaggio, yo, boom.
So I still think about that when that song comes on. I'm like, yeah, I'm turning that off if I'm driving.
Oh my God, I can't think of that song without that car crash. It was crazy.
Definitely.
No, if you're listening and you know that song, make a comment. It goes, I'm still standing. Oh, okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay. But hey, let's get into the meat of what we're talking about. And it is the relationship between a captive agent, or really any insurance agent, and a mortgage broker. Now, Kyle, I could be wrong, but a lot of agents that I talk to, it's not that they don't want relationships with mortgage brokers or any referral partner, right? They're just not very intentional about it. And I'm not sure why. So why do you think it is? Well, I guess first off, tell us why you think it is that maybe some people, it doesn't have to be just insurance agents, but we don't spend time building referral relationships. All right. So maybe that's actually just answer that question first. Why is it that we don't intentionally build referral relationships? Why is that?
Because we live in a world of instant gratification. That's exactly why we don't do it. When you're building relationships, I use the parable with my team. I have my team meetings and I said, hey, we use the parable of planting seeds, right?
Yeah.
And when you plant a seed for a tomato plant, it's going to take 6, 7, 8 months to grow. Well, think about that in terms of a partner, right? If you walk in, like for me, like we build them with realtors all the time. If we walk into a realtor's office and say, hey, I'm from Guardian Savings, they're not going to turn around and say, oh yeah, by the way, I've got this purchase I want you to work on. No, you plant the seeds, whatever that is, and you water them and they grow them. Like I said in my opening, build and drive relationships, right? So there's two things that we do. We build partnerships and drive them. Okay. There's two different aspects to it. I'll talk about that later. And then there's also the customer side. It's the same thing. So, I think one reason is that people want instant gratification, so they don't build them. Okay, that's number one. And then number two is it's your business model, right? So some people drive their customers and all, we use a frame of reference called the wheel on a bike. There's different spokes coming down from the wheel.
yeah.
And so a good salesperson is going to have several spokes coming out of that. Okay. And so, I won't go into mine because it's not relevant, but one piece of that is insurance agents. Who am I talking to? Who am I working with? One section of that is family and friends. One section of that is what I drive for my community involvement with Milford basketball. So I think part of the reason why agents won't do it is because they don't have that mentality of, hey, I'm gonna get my business from 7-8 different areas, right? We talked a little bit about pre-COVID, and people who were there, all we had to do was sit at our desk and answer our phone.
Yeah.
That's it, right? Now this phone is not ringing. I mean, mine is, but it's not ringing, right? So people built their business just on incoming phone calls. They didn't continue to build relationships and network with people. And so in the same respect, a lot of insurance agents, they've gotten their business from, either internet leads or, their own book of business. And they've never thought to kind of branch out.
Boy, there were some bangers in there. It was, man, the instant gratification, I think, is a huge piece, right? Because we know instant gratification releases dopamine. And that dopamine is what drives you to do it. It's why casinos are so popular. You and I wouldn't know anything about that, would we? That you wouldn't know anything about a casino. Don't worry about the poker chips behind me. But the reality is that the release of dopamine, that instant gratification is a real deal. And when you're building relationships, it's a seed, and it's nothing that you can eat or harvest right out of the gate. I thought that was really profound. And the reality is that a referral goldmine is sitting right in front of your face, right? It is a mortgage broker, but there is a process of planting seeds. And if that's not already in your business, if that's not already one of the spokes in your wheel going into the hub, so to speak, it's just never going to cross your mind. But okay, so Kyle, tell me about some relationships that you have with insurance agents that are driving referrals, because I know of at least one who this guy gets all kinds of referrals from you.
Right. Yeah, I'm not going to name the company just because it would go against my my company's policy and that kind of thing. But you would know the company well.
Oh,
but no, I think some of my partnerships with, I really have two agents that I work with. One is a company that is they're just a company that does their own business, and then I do have a broker who I can use sometimes if my clients don't want to use this particular company. So I use both. The gentleman Adam was talking about in the previous comment, I probably send him anywhere from 4 to 10 opportunities a month.
Say 4 to 10?
Between 4 to 10. Yep. Something like that.
A lot. That's a lot.
4 to 10 a month. And it's quite easy to do. Part of my presentation when I'm with a new borrower is I'll take their application. I'll send them an email. Hey, I need X, Y, and Z documents. By the way, I need a home ownership quote. If you don't work with an agent, I've got a fantastic one that I send all of my clients to, and I can have him run a quote for you. And then, when people are going through the mortgage process, they are extremely busy and they have 1,000 things to do. And if I can take one thing off of their plate, like getting an insurance quote, they're like, do it. Right?
Damn.
Do it. And then I'm laying it up for my agent, and then it's up to him to reach out and to really add value to that. So, but that's how I tee it up. Every single, it's a process. Every single email I send out has that same line in it. In fact, it's a copy and paste email with what I need. And at the end, that same blurb is in there.
Dude, 4 to 10. That's crazy. You're talking about 4 to 10 warm leads. Think about that.
Brand new households, by the way.
Brand new households. So think about it. It's not just going to be the homeowners. You're probably going to get a shot at their autos. You're going to get a shot at their life, right? Maybe even some short-term DI type health stuff. But think about that 4 to 10 warm leads for what? Not for money, not because you ran some weird ad, but because you decided to build a relationship and drive that with a mortgage broker.
In fact, I can't take $1 from anybody for referrals.
Wow.
It is against the law for me to take 1 penny from an insurance agent for giving them a referral. And if there's brokers who are making money on that, call the FBI.
Because that ain't legal.
It's not legal. I know some of that stuff happens, but it's not the right way to do business. So yeah, that's exactly what I do.
Do you think about that gold mine agents for a second? If you're having your homeowner's number, if you're one company you call fire, right? If you have your fire number that you've got to hit, you could probably build 3 or 4 deep relationships with mortgage brokers and hit that number without ever spending a dime on leads. Now, I'm not against buying internet leads. I'm really not. I think there's a place for them. I'm not against SEO and Google advertising. In fact, we have an episode on that in the past, but there's nothing better than a referral, right? Referrals, think about it like this. Referrals are gold mines. An internet lead is like finding a random piece of gold out in the field. A relationship with a mortgage officer, broker, is like a gold mine. Very, 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 very different.
If you think about it, there is a process of which someone goes to buy a house, right? Yeah. The first thing they usually do is reach out to a realtor. Okay. Yeah. That realtor has their guy. Now that's my goal, is to be their guy, right?
That's right.
Comes to me. And then after they get in the process, hey, we need insurance. Okay. So the next place in the pecking order is the insurance agent. All right. So just think, every deal that's done, there has to be insurance, and every person who's opening a mortgage is generally open to a conversation.
That's huge.
It is the biggest transaction of their life, and they're willing to take the time to figure out who is best for my insurance. And I had something earlier about you'll likely get other stuff. You will get other stuff because, and I'm sure, I'm not an insurance guy, but I think bundling policies saves you money. So you bundle the home, the auto, the life, it just saves you money. So I can't think of a time. I'd have to ask my insurance guy how many just home policies he's gotten standalones with no car coverage. I bet that number is low, because everyone wants to save money, and they'll bundle their car insurance at the same time.
Big time. Boy, I tell you what. But Kyle, it's amazing how many insurance agents. I talk to insurance agents all day, and how many of them don't have, as a source type within FrontRunner inside of our sales form, we've got a little place where they can say where a sale came from. The amount of people that don't have mortgage broker as a source type. What does that tell me? That tells me that they're not leveraging one. They're not leveraging that relationship. Huge swing and miss. If you're an insurance agent listening, you need to start listing the mortgage brokers that you know right now, and you need to figure out how to build a relationship with them, which leads me to my next question. All right, man. Pretend I'm an insurance agent and I want to approach you to build a relationship. How do I do that without looking like an opportunist? Because we all know those people. We know those people who are opportunists, and they come and you know they're getting ready to lay something on you, like that rando person that calls you and says, hey, I just want to talk about business. Can you meet me at Panera? Because Panera is where all multi-level marketing schemes start. And you get there and they lay out all their crap in front of you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to hear about the latest multi-level marketing scheme. So we all know what it feels like to be approached by a person like that. So how does somebody do it that it's organic, it's real, it's a two-way relationship? I'm an insurance agent. Tell me how you want to be approached.
Okay. So before I go into this, there's 2 types of agents. Okay. There is what we call the donut man, and then there is the partner. All right. And we're going to go into that here in just a little bit. All right.
I got to hear that. Donut man?
It's the donut man. Yeah. You're going to understand it when I go into it. Okay.
All right, let's do it.
All right. I'm going to lay a couple of truth bombs on you agents. All right. And if you've not listened to this point, turn your ears on. Okay. Mm-hmm. There is 2 things that we don't care about, but every agent thinks we care about. Okay. You ready? You ready for this?
Let's go. Let's hear it.
Number 1, everyone has a fast turnaround. The number 1 thing people say is, oh, I'll get your client a quote same day, same hour, whatever. Everyone can do that. They can go online and do that, right?
Yeah.
We don't care how fast you can turn around a referral.
Yeah.
Doesn't affect us. All right. That's number 1. Number 2, we really don't care how many providers you can shop.
Wow.
Right? We really don't care. Now, I know it's beneficial and you can get deals, and there's some brokers out there. I'm not meaning to knock on you. Okay. And it's great that you can do that. Don't use it as your work with me pitch.
Boy.
We don't care at all. At all. Okay. So those are the two big things that we don't care about. And insurance agents think we care about it. All right. We don't. Clients don't care about it. All right. Here's the third thing I want to tell you. And you're probably going to, and you may be thinking this guy's crazy. No matter if you're a mortgage officer, an insurance agent, we all offer the exact same stuff.
Wow.
Okay. Home insurance, auto insurance, life insurance. Nothing that you are selling is unique to anybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a commodity, right?
Nothing is absolutely unique. So you're not going to win us over on, I'm a quick turnaround, or I can shop all these brokers and you get all. No, we don't care. All right. This is what we care about. And I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm going to tell you about the donut man here in a minute. Here's the story. We want money in our pocket, just like you want money in your pocket, right?
Yeah.
We want your business as well. Not yours, your clients. Okay.
Yeah.
I tell my team, especially when we're going to realtors, it is a two-way street. You cannot expect your realtor to send you a bunch of business if you're not attempting to send them something. All right. Now, earlier I talked about the line. Remember, the line goes realtor, mortgage, insurance. All right. It's not going to be a 1-to-1 ratio. It may not be a 10-to-1. It may not be a 20-to-1 ratio. All right. But if you're telling me that you can't find one opportunity to send a mortgage guy within a couple of months or 3 months, you're not trying. All right.
Wow.
The biggest, so the guy that I work with, we've been partnering now for probably 5 or 6 years. If I had to count how much he sent me, he's probably sent me 10 deals, maybe 15. I've probably sent him at least 100 or more, maybe 200. I don't know. We don't care that it's not a 1-1 ratio. We just want to see that, number one, you're invested in us too. Okay.
Wow.
Again, we can't take money from you for a referral, but what you can do is look through your book or talk to people through your normal conversations. Hey, I see your, I know we got your home insurance. I see your mortgage. I mean, you can see the mortgage because you got the mortgagee clause. How's things going at Regions Bank or whatever bank I'm just naming that. Or, hey, tell me about your house. Do you have any home improvements that you're thinking about? Opportunities to say, hey, you know what? I got a guy that you should talk to. And I bet I've probably had, I can't tell you conversations with clients from this guy, and it works out sometimes it doesn't. But here's the thing. It keeps me invested in him because I know that, when something pops up, he's going to send it my way.
That's right. Okay. Hey, let me break in one quick, don't lose your train of thought because it is some good stuff. This is goldmine information. Listen, some of you captive agents with your companies have these sort of dealios with national mortgage brands, and you're getting a little bit of juice on it, a little bit. I want to tell you something. By building a partnership with a mortgage broker or a mortgage person, and not sending it through that national brand, but building that, you're going to get way more in return in terms of referrals than that little bit of juice that you're going to have by going with some national brand who, by the way, is not sending you anything. Listen, I'm going to call it out right now. Rocket Mortgage is not sending you a thing. They're not sending you referrals. They're not. Right? They're giving you a little juice or whatever it is, or whoever your provider is. They're giving you a little bit of something on it. It pales in comparison to what you're going to get by building a real two-way relationship with a mortgage broker.
Okay, so here's the second thing. All right, because some people are like, oh, it'd be hard. Some people, number one, try. All right, but if for some reason you can't do that, invite me out with you. Okay,
Wow.
Invite me on joint calls. Do you have a table set up at a convention? Invite me. Let me come and co-market with you. Let me. Wow. Are you part of a local networking group? Invite me. Right. Invite me. Now you might be thinking, well, there's only so much to go around. I want to build multiple relationships with different mortgage officers. That's fine. You can do this with multiple people. All I'm telling you is that find something to give back. Okay. Donut Man. You ready for it?
I gotta hear this. I gotta hear about Donut Man.
All right. So this guy walks in and he's got a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts. If you know me, I didn't get this size by eating salads. All right.
Joint
There is a Krispy Kreme like half a mile from me, right? So this guy walks in with a box of Krispy Kreme donuts, and he wants to tell me about, what are the two things he wants to tell me about? I can do a quick turnaround, and I can shop a bunch of companies. All right. He had donuts. So, I listened to him, and he's like, hey, would you mind if I stopped in from time to time and brought you guys donuts and just left cards? I said, yeah, I don't care. So he is now called the donut man in our office. And we know that once a month, we're getting donuts from this cat.
That's right.
And we've never given him one referral. So he is the donut man. I'm not going to name the company because I'm not going to, but his whole pitch, and I even asked him, hey, can you give back to me? He's like, well, just, we kind of don't do that. And, we're here to give good service. And okay, thank you for the donuts. So, I mean, we're nice to him because he's the donut man. All right. And then final myth, I forgot this myth. I'm going to backtrack in just a little bit. It's not even a myth. This is the other thing that we look for. Okay. So we've got, can you give back to us? And maybe you can, maybe you can't, but can you at least try? Number 2, invite us out. Let us be partners with you at conventions, or have us come to your office and just meet your people. If you're an agency owner, we'd love to come meet all your agents. And here's the final thing. And I think this is the biggest thing. A lot of salespeople have really big heads. All right. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you what I mean by that. They get too successful for their own good. And they think, you know what, I'm just going to be the front guy. I'm going to sell you the policy. And once you're in, you can talk to my team, or there's a 1-800 number you can call to get customer service. I remember build and drive relationships. So after I built it, I want to drive it. Okay. Driving the relationship is being with them from the day they close their mortgage to the day they pay it off. All right. I'm there for them for whatever issue they want. And you know why? I don't get paid as we go. All right. I don't have a trail fee or whatever you guys call it. But what I do have is the average person, and I tell this to my team, the average person moves every 7 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe more often. When they move, I want to be their guy they call. All right.
Yeah.
I've been focused strictly on mortgage for 5 or 6 years. And I've had families that have done it 2 or 3 different deals with me. And not only that, they're telling people, hey, this is my guy. He's there for you on the weekends. He's there for you through text message. So insurance agents, I want to make sure that I'm referring to someone who has the exact same mentality. Because once they go to you, guess what? We're on the same team together. We are driving that relationship together. And if you don't have that mentality with your guy or multiple guys, because you can have multiple mortgage guys that you go with on this, give that good service and don't farm them out to a 1-800 number. Please don't do it. Huge. Now, if you have an agency that has like an agent in your office, like a guy in your office who can, that's fine. I'm not telling you got to handle every payment question, but if my client has a big insurance issue, like big, more than just like, oh, I need to make a payment or something, they want to talk to the agent who sold them, right? Be that guy. And the guy that I work with is the best, 100%. In fact, we were on the phone last night. He said, hey, do you remember, I'm going to call her Jane Doe. Jane Doe, of course I know Jane Doe. I talk to her at least every 6 months, check and see how she's doing. Is like, I referred you to them 6 years ago. They're still with me. She texted me over the weekend and said, hey, I'm sorry, it's on a weekend. I'm out. I'm buying a third car. Can you do a quote for me? I mean, I know it's the weekend. He's like, yeah, I'll do it right now. It's a Sunday. Right. So that's the kind of guy I want to work with, who is just like me. Sorry, that was kind of long-winded, but I had to tell you about the donut man and those types of things.
Everybody likes the donut man. Yeah. Hey, we have a vendor here at the print shop that brings chocolate. And I'm not buying his stuff, but we're nice to him because we want him to keep bringing us chocolate, right?
There's the donut man, the bagel man. There's the free lunch guy. There's those guys too.
There is the free bagel guy.
So we have a free lunch guy that we can count on every quarter getting lunch. It's the guy that sells PMI that we work with. He's the lunch guy, right? Yeah. So I tell my team, it's not wrong to bring them donuts or whatever, but don't be the donut guy. And that's all you are, is the donut guy. They will always welcome you. Hey, they will always welcome you in with a smile because they know that they're getting calories.
Yeah, and you're getting calories, and you will walk out thinking that was a great sales call. No, it wasn't. You're the donut guy. You're the donut guy. Man, that was powerful. Listen, if you don't take anything away, you absolutely do not lead with those two things, because I can tell you those are a commodity. I mean, what you sell, if you understand, if you're a captive agent, what you sell, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, it's not special. It's a commodity. So where do you win the people? You win them with not even great service. Like you win them with being available to them. You win with being symbiotic with that broker, and that person can trust you to take care of his or her customer the same way that they would.
Hey, can I add one more thing? I'm on a time crunch. Let me add one more thing.
Anything you want.
So like he's talking about, everyone sells the same stuff. Okay. If you build and then drive that relationship, it doesn't matter if XYZ bank or XYZ insurance agency is more expensive than you. I know. So I actually have my own personal insurance with my guy, and I wasn't with him before. And I guarantee you he's more expensive than,
right.
And I can get it cheaper somewhere else. Right. But I value what he can give me. My kid's car was stolen yesterday, and I was on the phone with him at 7 a.m. in the morning.
Right.
7 a.m. All right. And he wouldn't want it any other way. He's probably mad I didn't call him at 6 when I found out.
Right.
Okay. But I waited till 7 to call him. By the way, we found the car, so we're good. But what I'm saying is, and I tell my team this all the time, you will never win on closing cost, even though we're the lowest in town. Shameless plug. You will never win on closing cost, and you will never win on rate. Will you be lowest sometimes? Sure, right? But if you build a relationship and drive it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your rates are. All right. They may ask you, oh, XYB's offered it. At the end of the day, they're going to stay with you.
Yeah. And the reality is, if they're leaving you over half a point or a quarter a point, they're not your customer anyway. All they're doing is shopping for a price, right? And if you win them on price, you're going to lose them on price.
Yeah. I don't ever talk rate, price, anything. I talk, how do we work together to build the home of your dreams, or to find the home of your dreams? How do we partner together, right? I mean, you have to compete with cost sometimes, but if your whole business model is, I'm going to be the lowest and I'm going to be the cheapest, you're never going to win.
Yeah. There's one thing you always said, especially when I was in the mortgage process, which was fun, wasn't it? There's another story behind that. I got the loan, good. But the reality is that you used to say a lot that a lot of my customers that I work with, this is going to be a 2 or 3 year project. And that speaks to relationships. It says, hey, I'm going to walk with you for 2 or 3 years, because you've got to look at credit. You got to get your credit under control. You've got to look at the amount of credit card debt that you have. You've got a couple other things you need to clean up. And so rather than just say, hey, call me in 3 years, right? Or call me after you get those things cleaned up, you said, hey, this is going to be a project, and I'll work on it with you together. That's how you build a tribe of people who are willing to follow you and to work with you, even when maybe you're a little more expensive.
And here's the reality. I mean, I know insurance guys. I mean, I know we are basically commission only. I get it. You want to spend your time putting money in your pocket, instant gratification, right? But if you just take some time, I've got a new officer that I've been training the last few weeks, and I'm trying to drive that home. Hey, spend time building and planting seeds. And you know what? It may take you 6 months to really start to grow, but the time you spend up front to invest is going to be, it's going to make or break in. And it's the same no matter whether you're selling insurance, mortgage, print material, doesn't matter. Same thing.
Same exact thing. I'm going to tell you something. I'm convinced that if you listen to 2 episodes of To the Front, that you want to grow your business, listen to one called Referrals Done Right by Scott Grates, and listen to this episode over and over and over. Because when you become really good at mining referrals and being a two-way giver, your business is going to grow. There's no way it can't grow. So let me pivot really quick. I know this is about insurance, but one of the things that, man, I've just appreciated about you, Kyle, is that, and like I said earlier, is that despite like spiking interest rates and economy issues, your business has grown. I mean, you are resilient in business, and a lot of it's because you bank on referrals. So tell me a little bit about what you do to get referrals in your business. And is any of that maybe transferable to an agent? I know you've already highlighted a couple of things, so you don't have to re-highlight those if you don't want to. But is there anything else you could add to that? Because I know it's going to transfer over to another commodity-based business.
Yeah. So, I do a lot of different things, but one of the things that I've done since I've been in lending, or especially in the last 7 years that I've been in mortgage, is I'm intentional with my day. Okay. So we talk about the roller coaster a lot in mortgage, where you get a bunch of apps and then you work on them and you baby them all the way through underwriting and closing, and then all of a sudden they're closed and I go do it again.
Right.
And then so your paycheck is a roller coaster, right? So if you're intentional about your day, you're spending part of your day with, hey, like I'll give you an example. Every morning I come in and I spend the first part of my day tidying up what I didn't get done yesterday, whether it's paperwork, files, whatever. Middle of my day is generally spent on the phone. All right, I'm calling customers. I'm doing whatever. The end of my day is all about partnership building. And even when I've got a full pipeline of loans, I build partnerships every afternoon. I do it every afternoon, and I also do it.
Kyle, you have a call on Park.
Sorry about that. I've got
the
calls coming in.
partnership.
But so no, here's the reality. So this is another tidbit for you. We have a thing called dashboard time that I instill in my guys. All right.
Yeah.
When you're driving in the car, what do? Do you listen to music? Do you be unsafe and watch YouTube? Do you do whatever, right? Use that time to call people. Even if it's an agent. Like I called an agent the other day and said, hey, just, I haven't talked to you in a few months. How's things going? He's like, oh, Kyle, it's been great. I've been thinking about you. So that's called dashboard time. Use as you're driving to always be on the phone. So that's number one. Number two is we talked about the wheel of the bike. I have tried to make sure that I have a ton of spokes on my wheel. Okay. That I'm not just getting agents. I'm not getting I do get some walk-ins and call-ins here at the bank. I've got that. I've got Milford Basketball. I've got realtors. I've got insurance agents. I've got personal referrals. So I make sure that my wheel is always complete, no matter how my business is. And too many people, if they've got a full pipeline, they're busy, they just stop selling. And that's what creates the roller coaster. And I think with insurance agents, the same thing. You got to spend at least a part of your day selling. Okay. Because what people do is they forget about the future, and they say, yeah, I'm busy right now and things are great, but I'm going to make sure things are always great. So I'm going to spend at least an hour or two a day making those contacts, calling mortgage guys, calling whoever in your business.
Yeah, but I love
that. That's how I've stayed busy. Is when the refi boom went down, that spoke was pretty much gone. Okay, the refi spoke is it's starting to come back, but it's gone. But I have all the other spokes. Everything else is still there.
Yeah. Boy, the dashboard time. I freaking love that. I'm gonna use it still. Dashboard time. Don't waste your drive home. Don't. Listen. That SiriusXM is not going to serve your business.
No, it's not.
But what's going to serve your business? You pick up the phone and call some people and just ask how they're doing. Don't. And I assume the dashboard time, you're not calling them like, hey, what kind of deals you got for me? Acting all thirsty. I'm sure you don't do that.
No, one of the other things I do is I have an old-fashioned Rolodex. Okay. And so when I meet partners, so real estate agents, whatever, and I'm talking to them and I jot down notes about their family and what's going on in their life. And so when I say, oh, it's time for me to call Billy Bob from XYZ agency, I'll pull the card out. I'll quickly look at it. I say, hey, Billy Bob, hey, how's Mark doing in college? Is he doing well? And so even though I didn't remember that about him, it was on my index card. So, and I do the same with customers. When I meet a new customer, I write down just a couple of quick things about them so that when I call them, they feel like I know them and I remember them.
Boy, that's big
those
time.
are things I do as well.
That's interesting. That was actually very similar advice to what Scott Greats gave in the Referrals Done Right, is that you got to take notes on your people so that you can pull a little something out. And I'll tell you, anytime somebody calls me and asks me about my son, how he's doing in Italy, or, something that we talked about one time and they bring it back up, that makes me feel special. That connects me to them. So
Absolutely.
That's huge. Hey, listen, gold mine, right? Referral Goldmine. Build relationships with mortgage brokers and do it in exactly the way Kyle told you. And I promise you it comes back. In fact, I would even guess that you could fulfill your whole FIRE number, your whole homeowner's number, by just building really great, real, organic, two-way relationships with mortgage brokers. So, all right, Kyle, I've got a kind of an unrelated question. I know you're not like a genie, or you don't have a crystal ball, but tell me about the housing rates. I know this is kind of an unrelated subject, but tell me about the market rates, housing rates. what's going to happen in the next couple of years? Is it going back into the 4s? I know it's kind of my opinion over years, but what do you think is going to happen with the housing market?
Yeah. So I think you said it. It's it's my opinion versus yours. There are indicators out there of where things are going. If you'd asked me this time last year where rates would be right now, I'd have told you in the 5s.
Yeah,
pretty confidently. They're not there. Okay. So rates and housing, it's all driven by inflation, right? So those inflationary measures are what drive rates up. And I won't go into the exacts about it, but as long as our country is still experiencing inflation, rates are going to remain high. Where do I think they're going? I think they are going down. Okay. But, again, when I talk to clients, I'll say, listen, don't buy a house or not buy a house based on if rates are going down or up. Okay. Because we can't control that. We think they're going down, and all of the indices are saying that they probably will go down, but buy the house because you need more space. Buy the house because we need to relocate for work or whatever the case may be. Rates, it's kind of a corny saying, marry the loan, date the rate, or whatever whatever stupid say you say.
I was going to drop that, but
we can always fix the rate. So, so the answer, I know it's not really an answer to your question, but I personally believe, this is not a statement from Guardian Savings or anybody else. This is Kyle's thought, is that rates will go down, and I personally believe that we will be in the 5s later this year. But again, I'm not an economist. I do not speak for Guardian. I'm just speaking from what I personally believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to. I mean, they've been hovering so high, and I was just talking with a friend at the gym this morning he flips houses, and he needs a couple of his to move. And I know there's a lot of people that depends on. So, okay, last question. I'll let you go. And I know you're busy. You got people buzzing into your phone, and
sorry about that. It's just one of those things.
No, I'm glad. I don't want to talk to anybody who's not busy, because then they don't have anything to offer our crowd, right? I'm not going to talk to low energy ballers that sit there and wait for stuff to happen. I want people to be blowing you up. Side question, just because some people want to know, what was your favorite memory about being a twin growing up, or maybe the weirdest?
Yeah. Watch me say the exact same thing that you were thinking about as well. But, for me, and it really highlighted it, I think during 9/11 is what really highlighted it for me, is that, having someone who, we're not the same person by any means, but knows exactly how I feel pretty much all the time. So we can have a conversation, and other than my wife, he's, being a twin is the only person who will know exactly what you're thinking with using very little words. I don't have to explain too much about what's going on in my day, and he knows exactly how I'm feeling. And that's cool, because then you have a friend who's there for you, and kind of like a built-in partner. And then for me, that was always the best thing.
I was going to say the same thing, man. Kyle and I talk, man, almost every day. It's oftentimes when I'm leaving the gym and he's dropped his daughter, my niece, I'm her favorite uncle, just want you to say, dropping his daughter off at school, and we chat for 15, 20 minutes. And sometimes the contents of those might get us canceled forever. But man, I can say whatever I want, whatever, right? And man, I know he knows exactly what I'm talking about, and we're gonna be cool. There is no stepping on eggshells with a twin brother, right? We're just, that was probably the best part. For me, the worst part was, man, I didn't like people like giving us combo gifts, like this is for you and your brother. Or, Then, tell a story real quick, and then we'll wrap up the podcast. Tell a story about how pissed you got about the graduation.
I was going to bring that up. So as Adam talked about, he barely skirted by.
I'm talking about barely.
Barely. I graduated summa cum laude. All right. It was a big deal to me, right? Big deal. And so somehow his graduation was the same. He graduated in the same semester I did. I don't know how he did it, but we had to have a joint party. And I'm sure my dad will watch this, and I'm not trying to knock on your dad, but I wanted my own party so bad, and I've never had my own party for anything, right? And so, I wanted my own celebration, because I am me. Adam didn't work near as hard as I did, and I'll tell you that right now. And I'm not trying to knock on him, but he's brilliant in a million ways. But when it comes to, college. It's not that he's not brilliant. He just didn't want to do it.
Still don't want to do
it. Still don't want to do it. That's a whole nother podcast. Is college a scam? But I don't think it is. He may think it is. I don't know. But anyway,
we should do that podcast one day. We should talk. It should be Adam versus Kyle. Is college a scam?
Oh, it's absolutely not a scam.
Oh, it's 100% a scam.
Absolutely not a scam.
One day we'll talk about it.
Yeah, but no, that was one of the things that I didn't get my own party, by the way. So we don't always get what we want in life.
Didn't get your own party, but since you've been married, I'm sure she's given you plenty of birthday cakes and parties for you.
Oh yeah, no. So actually, Jen is fantastic. She knows how I feel, and she always makes it a big deal, and it's all about me on that day. And
Yeah. No, I remember. I think it was like at your 40th birthday party. I was like a guest at your birthday party.
Yeah,
it was at BD's Mongolian Grill, but it was my birthday too. But we didn't celebrate me. We celebrated you, which I thought was great.
Yeah, I mean, by that time I don't care. I'm 40 years old, but I was a 21, 22-year-old college kid, and I wanted to be celebrated. That big head about me.
I did too. Dude, I didn't try at all. Which, by the way, my degree's in theology. It's not like in coding or business management, right? I feel like maybe I've done all right there, but college is just not whatever. So, all right. Hey, last question. We're going to let you go, Kyle. If people want to connect with you, ask you more questions about how to be a great referral partner, maybe, want to talk about mortgage, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So call my cell phone, text me. All right. I will never give you a website to go visit. That's kind of the low energy stuff I'm talking about. My number is 859-552-5303. Call me. Text me. All right. I even if you're across the country, I do loans all across the nation. So even if you just want to say, hey, what's some advice that I can do to build my team? I manage a team of officers here as well. I'm happy to talk with you through it. But yeah, 859-552-5303. Give me a call, text me. I'm happy to chat.
Dang, that's a big old statement. 859-552-5303. And you know what, dude? Most of our front runner subscribers have my phone number. Just because you and I are cut from the same cloth. We're cut from the same cloth, and even though we've got, a couple thousand front runner customers, I still want people to be able to get a hold of me because personal service really means a lot.
Absolutely. Build and drive. They are two separate things.
Build and drive. Build and drive. Kyle.
And don't be the donut man.
Don't be the
donut man.
Donut man. I love the donut man, so he brings donuts, but don't be the donut man.
The donut man, he's great. I love him. I'm just not giving my business.
Heck yeah. Kyle, thanks for coming on the podcast, dude. Great episode. Really, really good. Really appreciate your time, man.
I enjoyed it. Thanks.
Absolutely. All right. That's going to be a wrap for episode number 18 of To the Front. Again, thanks to my twin brother, guest Kyle Norsworthy. Man, he had some truth bombs, didn't he? Some things that you need to listen to. You need to put into play right away. Man, give him a call. He's more than happy to help. But I learned a ton today. I wrote down some notes. That comment about the dashboard time, I'm gonna put that into play right away. So that's it for this episode of To the Front. You can't wait till episode number 19. We're gonna talk all about how you need a coach. Yeah, you need a coach. And by the way, we've got some suggestions on who that should be. So that's episode 19 coming up on To the Front. Until then, man, lead with courage. It's worth it. Don't lay around. Don't be low energy. Be high energy. Lead your business. Why? Because when your business grows, you can bless others and bless the community around you. Until then, take care.